Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dream Building 101. I'm your host, Dr. Ebony Potts. I am also the author of Next Exit Your Destiny, Taking the Road Towards the Life of Your Dreams. And on this channel, we speak with individuals from all kinds of different paths and walks of life who are on their path to fulfillment. And today is no exception. I have the pleasure of speaking with a gentleman who just happens to be one of my husband's best friends. And his name, we know him as Money, but his name is Leonar Trice. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right, other than the fact that it's Leonar Trice Senior.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Thank you for the correction. Senior. And you are the senior member of the group as well, the group of friends, but we're not going to throw you under the bus.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
All right. So why don't you tell the people who you are and what it is that you do?
Well, again, a nice introduction, and we are a close family. And I'm just a old gentleman that midlife. I guess I'm in my midlife. I guess here down in Tampa, Florida, from Louisville, Kentucky. Born and raised for the most part, but I have traveled a couple states around this great area of ours. I guess it's a great country of ours, but I'm settled here down in Florida.
What's your title? What is it that you do? I know you can't mention the company, but what is your title and what is it that you do professionally?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm a software engineer and I work for a very prominent global company. So.
All right. So how did you end up on that path? Like, I know that you guys, I hear all the stories from my husband and you guys went to the same high school here in Jacksonville, Florida, or near me actually right now, Jacksonville, Florida. But how did you end up on that path once you graduated from high school?
Oh, okay. Once I graduated from high school, just like a lot of individual, of course, of our background, went into the workforce. And so I was just looking for a career at some point. It's a lot of people try to establish to get a good job. And when I was coming out of high school, and after a few years, I decided that I really didn't want a job. I really wanted a career. So what I had to do in order to get here after high school, I had to really hold on and have some discipline and some desire to actually teach myself how to be a computer programmer. So I just went and got some books and started going at it. And then also I had to have the courage to build a network, a real usable network, of individuals that can help me on that journey and on that path to the career that I wanted to build. So those are the things that I had to do. And then after that, again, I took advantage of that network, took advantage of that learning, and got myself into this IT side of the house at the company that I work for. And then boom, it just went off from there.
Wow. So you are self-taught, like you taught yourself programming.
Absolutely. Yes, I did. I had to do it. Actually, it was part of also looking up to my big brother as well, because he was in the military and he was teaching himself and going through with the GI Bill and everything. But yeah, I just took his old.
Sick of sitting at your job, daydreaming about the life that you would have if you'd won that big jackpot? Do you want to design a life for yourself that you don't need to take a vacation from? Do you have a vision for your life that you just don't know how to make a reality? Next Exit Your Destiny is a witty, comical, yet straightforward guide that gives you common sense, easy to follow steps to make the life you dream of the life that you live. Get off of Unfulfilled Street, Unhappy Way, and Sunday Night Blues Boulevard and take the next exit towards your destiny today.
Books, sat down, read them from cover to cover, and kept trying the exercises until I learned enough to make some noise. And then, like I said, I built that network at the place of my employment, spread it a nice, wide, diverse network. And then an opportunity came up, and I said, reached out to an individual within my network and said, hey, you know what? I can do this. And so they put me through, some rigorous testing, live testing as it was, and I passed. And they told me, they gave me some feedback on where I needed to grow. That's another thing that individuals must do if they really want to be able to improve themselves. You must be able to take feedback. And so that's a very essential thing, whether it's positive. And most you want to be not critical, I guess is the right word, but are negative, but you want it to be something that is going to allow you to build and grow. You don't want all the yes people in your corner. That's not the network you want. You want a network of honest individuals to give you feedback. And once I got that, I was able to take that feedback and grow.
Well, that's awesome. Like, to be able to teach yourself something technical like that, and especially the field that you're in is not one that is very heavily populated by people that look like you and I. So to be able to be there and be a force and just be able to be an inspiration to other people who might be able to go into that, because it doesn't necessarily take a college degree. You don't have to get a master's in whatever it is. There are, especially now, I mean, you were doing this before there was YouTube, because YouTube will have you building a house. You can do anything by watching videos, and there's so much information out there, so that if you really want to learn something, you can. And you're a perfect example of that. Back before all of these types of applications and this type of information was available. So pretty awesome. So tell us about a challenge you faced along your path, and how did you overcome it, and what did you learn from the experience?
Well, as we just spoke of, talked about, I did teach myself. So one of the biggest challenges that I had, not only like another point that you mentioned, people of our background and our color being in the this particular field, right? That I also came across what I call a certificate bias, whereas individuals don't respect you in a certain area unless you have, like you said, the master's degree and all of that in it. So I had a couple of situations where I did have people even my manager talked down to me. And it was a real challenge because, typically when someone challenges you in talking down to you, and you feel disrespected, the immediate reaction, sometimes the emotional reaction, is to, as they say, these young kids, clap back. But so I didn't do that. What I did is, I took that challenge on. And so I prepared for the meeting. Now, when I went into the meeting, because the challenge was, he said, hey, we're going to go to this meeting, but you're not going to know anything. You're going to know what's going on, because I was going in with all of these other engineers. And so I felt slighted, because, again, if I'm working in your group and I'm working on your team and I'm producing, valuable work to you, I'm being a valuable asset to the team, why would you say that to me? Right. And so I took that challenge and I said, you know what, let me prepare for the meeting. Let me look up what the meeting is going to be about. I looked at the agenda, and then I wrote some notes. And then I told myself, there's an old saying, and I'm probably going to mess this up a little bit, but it's called, it's be quiet and let everybody think that you're stupid, rather than opening your mouth and leaving no doubt. So I went into the meeting and I didn't say a word. And honestly, Ebony, I can tell you, he was absolutely right. I knew nothing of what they talked about. I really didn't. I was completely lost. But What I did do is I took very diligent notes, and unbeknownst to them, after that meeting, I went out and looked up every single thing that they talked about, and I studied it so that in the next meeting, guess what? I could add value to the conversation and value to the product. And once I was able to do that, I actually earned a lot of respect. Unfortunately, not from my manager that was there at the time. However, I did gain a lot of respect from the other engineers. And at the time, I wasn't even an engineer. That was not my title. I was just a tester at that time. But the engineers started respecting me. And then when after that, they started giving me small little personal projects on the side to help them. And then once I was able to do that, it helped me grow. And again, growing also individually. And this is one thing that I would always share with anybody. Growing individually is a great thing, but growing your network is the best thing. You always want to grow your network because it's not always what you know, it's a lot of times who you know.
That's very important. And on a previous interview that I had, I was talking with a friend about the fact that as first generation, whether you're first generation having a certain level of job, first generation in a certain field, first generation college graduate, a lot of times those soft skills, and I was actually interviewing he is an architect and his name is Marcus Williams. So we'll make sure that we put information about that interview right here at this point here so that you guys can check that out. But, he and I had a very candid conversation about, he grew up, not of, very, very affluent means and things of that nature. And, there's just certain soft skills that you're not taught. And, networking was one that, I was not the best at. And, it's still a challenge for me because of my personality. I'm very introverted. So, but as I've grown and learned, it is, like you just said, that's extremely important. Because just like you said, it's not always who you know, it's not always what you know, it's who you know. And you can get yourself in a situation where you can excel. But that preparation that you did also can help you too, because luck is really where preparation meets opportunity, as they say. So yeah. Definitely. So what do you love about what you do, and what's the most challenging aspect of what you do?
Well, one thing I do love is that the first thing that I love about it is providing a solution and being able to get a problem, and then being able to dissect that problem and then providing a solution of benefit to a customer. It's some wonderful things when you do software technologies like this and you build something that actually helps someone else improve in their aspect of either their profession or personally. So there's a lot of rewarding things that come from that. I mean, if if you're doing it for the right reasons, that's the best thing about it. And being able to solve, and being in IT, in the IT profession, things change rapidly. I mean, everybody knows that, hey, there used to be a time when you had dial-up internet, and then you turned from dial-up, you went broadband internet. People remember when you had computers, when it took you 3 to 4 days to download the operating system before you can actually use the computer.
Right, you can come on a disk, right? You can put it in a disk.
Yeah,
inside of the computer.
absolutely. And getting the little message, it's time for disk number 2 and disk number 3.
You have mail. We're dating ourselves here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good to have that challenge in IT where things change, and now ever more so with things changing so rapidly, because there is such a large pool of individual contributors to IT. I mean, again, like we talked about my thing, I came from, teaching myself, but there are individuals, a wide range of individuals, from young kids that sit down and make gaming apps on their own that are teenagers, to individuals that's been leading platforms, creating entire platforms and frameworks, and CEOs of top software companies. So you have such this wide pool of individuals, again, going back to the word that we keep saying, which creates a wide network of individuals that we can leverage on, that just makes it wonderful to know that, hey, there's always going to be new things to keep my mind going, refreshing and challenging me. So it makes me feel young. I mean, I like we said, I am the senior guy, but I still feel younger than those guys because my mind is kept sharp.
So what would you say is the most challenging aspect of what you do? Is it the same as the thing that you like?
Yes, somewhat. Yes, because again, when you do have that wide pool, what comes along with it, especially in this world today, is competition. So you have a lot of competition that's gonna be on you. But actually, again, I will say this about the challenges that it's faced for me personally, is the fact that I do not have the certificates. So I would always encourage individuals that if that is a desire, it's something that you should always look into, because again, schooling does provide some of the soft skills that we don't normally pick up and naturally pick up. Fortunately for me, I'm a busybody, I'm a social butterfly. So networking was never a problem for me. So that would make it challenging for someone else, like you said yourself, you who's an introvert. It will make it difficult if you just learned on your own. So that is a challenge for me, because again, I didn't have some of the skill sets, because I had to be more focused on one or the other. I couldn't pick a multi-range or multi-variety of different technologies to work on. So I think that's the one big challenge for me. My expertise is singular rather than very broad and T-shaped like today's technologies should be.
Okay. Tell us a recent life lesson that you've learned or had to grapple with in the last 2 to 3 years.
Hey, it's like this is a beautiful segue. One of the life lessons that I did learn in the past couple of years was just that very thing about the nature that we was talking about, the variety. Don't get so singular focused. I had a position, right, that I had held for like 10, 15 years, and I was so focused on that one technology. I became an expert in it. I mean, everybody, did call on me to come. I was the leader of my team, but yet, because of business strategies outside of my area that were made, I found myself now searching and looking for a new job or new position. And because I had focused so deeply into that one area and gave my all onto that area, it kind of caught me off guard, and I was kind of lost for a few. But then, of course, I reached back, in that past to grab that same focus and desire to be able to learn different things. And I was able to teach myself. But someone else may not have that fortune to have that within them, to have that courage and, again, that network. And honestly, Ebony, I look around and I see a lot of individuals that, unfortunately, we see it today where people are let go, or jobs, or they find themselves in not an ideal situation and they can't handle it, and they go to an extreme, right? And so that is the life lesson that I would always tell people, or try to, help people with, is that don't be so singular focused on one thing that you don't allow yourself to be to have a variety of skills, so that you can be able to move and be mobile in this ever-changing environment and that we are in.
Very good advice. Very good advice. What would you tell the 20 or 25-year-old Leonar Trice Sr.?
Well, again, I'm going to date myself. I would tell the 25-year-old me to invest in Apple stock.
Yeah, that would be great advice. Definitely.
Absolutely. But no, in all seriousness, I would tell, if you see my puppy, sorry about that, he's breaking in, he wants his time. But I would actually tell my 25-year-old self to actually do more planning for, with future goals in short ranges. A lot of times we have these long range goals of what we want to do. Like when I was 5, right? Oh man, when I grow up, I want to be a firefighter, which was 15 years out. Well, guess what? When I got to 15, 20 years old to become a firefighter, that was the furthest thing from my mind from being something. So one of the things that I would tell myself then is to make short-term attainable goals. And by doing that, once you set yourself to make short-term attainable goals, you will see that after a while, all those short-term goals becomes to be an accomplishment that leads to longer-term success. So that's the one thing that I would tell myself. Just keep short-term goals. And then that will prepare you to be on the track to get to where you really want to go long term and long range.
Well, you are literally like walking down the steps of one of my chapters in my book, where I kind of give the example of how teachers plan. Teachers have standards that they are supposed to be teaching, students, and that is the long-term goal. And then what they call it in the education field is backwards design, which is pretty much what you're talking about. You have this goal and you just design incremental steps on how to get there, and it'll walk you right to it. So that's awesome advice for anybody that's trying to reach any kind of goal, whether you're 20, 25, 45, or 60, it doesn't matter. If you could tell someone out there who may be just getting on their path towards their best life, what would you say to them?
If someone's just starting their journey, is that I would just tell them to don't allow yourself to be so focused on the goal that if you do trip and fall, that you can't get back up. Or don't give yourself so much variety that you end up, self-stymieing yourself. Because we try to look at, if you keep looking around and trying to get everything in order, you become immovable. You don't move. You don't progress, because you're saying, okay, I got to get this duck in the order. I got to get this in the order. I got this again. No. Again, don't worry so much about those types of things when you are looking for your goal. Everything does not have to be perfect. There will be stumbling blocks. Just get back up and push forward. So I know kind of a lot that I said in there.
No, you talking right, as the old folks say. Because again, there's always goals that you're working towards. They just change as you get older and as you progress, and as you accomplish one goal, then you set another one that kind of keeps you going. But I've had some accomplishments in my life, things that I went after, and were able to attain some of them. Some things I still am working on, but my ducks have never been in order ever. My ducks have never all been in order in my entire life. It just never works out that way.
No.
It just doesn't work out that way. When I went to go get my bachelor's degree, I wish that I could have, gotten a few more scholarships. And when I went to go do this, when I went to go get, my first home, I wanted things lined up a certain way, and it just doesn't happen that way. Life doesn't work that way. And if you're right, if you wait, you'll be waiting, and you'll be like 95, and you will not have accomplished anything. So
exactly.
Definitely, I agree wholeheartedly with that. Anything else you want to add, or any questions for me?
No, I think, again, I'm not the person to ask questions. I don't know why. It's just me.
That's
But
okay.
no, this has been great. I'm glad you had me on. I'm really happy. And my dog says, hey.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. If anyone has any kind of IT questions or work, or if they want to get in contact with you, how can someone reach you?
Oh, they can reach me at uh, LLTSR at hotmail.com.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So again, I appreciate you for being here. It's always great to have yet another example of someone in STEM that doesn't look like the typical person that you expect to show up, because when you think of like the Geek Squad, you think of some young, Caucasian 20-something kid with glasses, that's gonna show up with a pocket protector and walk around and help you with your IT stuff, but it's good to see that there are different types of people in all of these types of arenas and all of these different fields. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the traditional path. If you want to get there, you can get there. So you're a great example of that. I appreciate it. And thank you again, everyone, for watching. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and share button. And don't forget to pick up your copy of Next Exit, Your Destiny, Taking the Road Towards the Life of Your Dreams. It's available everywhere that books are sold. Thanks again, Mr. Trice. I appreciate you.
All right.
And thank you guys for watching. See you next time.